Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing another deck guide. This time it'll be over Chromatic Black for best of 3. So normally Chromatic Black is traditionally a best of 1 deck because you use Mastermind's Acquisition and something like maybe Karn Great Creator to, as a wish sideboard, you go and look through your sideboard for answers and or win cons. And so this is typically a best of 1 list, but today I got hosed by a viewer with a Karn best of 3 like this Chromatic Black variation here, which is originally based on Ollie's deck. So if you guys are just interested in the gameplay, there's going to be a timestamp down below in the video. You can just click that and skip the intro and all. But today we're going to be going over how the deck functions, mulligan strategies, sideboarding, and gameplay, which I just mentioned. And also if you just want to export the list, that's also down below in the details. So let's dig into it. So how is this different from a normal Chromatic Black list aside from being set up for best of 3? We've got new additions from Jumpstart and Amonkhet Remastered. One of them being Thoughtseize is the main one. Those of you following my deck guides probably already know that I've done a few Chromatic Black decks, and that's because I love the deck. It's so good. And it's just a lot of card advantage, lots of new tools that we get to utilize. And I think the main one here that makes this different from all of the other ones thus far is probably Karn. This guy here. So Karn, Scion of Urza, was a very nice card during Dominaria, was a very pinnacle point for most control lists to pump out card advantage. And he has aged sort of in an odd way. You don't really see Karn too often nowadays, sometimes in mono green Tron, green ramp where they don't really have a lot of source of card advantage. This sort of comes into play. For us, it's really, really nice. It gives us a win con with our treasure maps because we make a bunch of treasure tokens. Those are our artifacts that allow the -2 here to actually be a win condition and to also protect Karn if you need to against blockers. And it also just gives you a bunch of card advantage, and it foregoes stuff like Narset. We don't really care about Narset too much, aside from our opponent getting a lot of card advantage, like, the 2 cards that Narset digs through and such. There are also only 2 Golos, which is a little low. Usually you see up to 4 copies, sometimes 3. 2 is a little bit low. I think maybe we could use more, but I'm willing to kind of playtest this a little more. This is from Steam Flogger Boss, one of my viewers. This exact list is everything that they had in the deck. I haven't tweaked it yet, but I've been enjoying the few games that I have played with it. We've played a bit on ladder, which you'll see in the gameplay, and it's just a really nice list overall. So those are the main differences between the other variations. And 3 Karn Great Creators instead of any Masterminds. And then you can see in the sideboard here, we have 3 Duresses, which are actual sideboard cards. Grafdigger's actual sideboard cards. You can bring in 2 of these and leave 1 for Karn to dig through if you want to against, like, Collected Company, etc. Or Sakdos. 2 Moments of Cravings for aggro, Sakdos, etc. Like, this comes in when you need it. Spyglass, I mean, it's pretty standard with the Karn sideboard. Golos, which explains like the 1 less copy in the main deck, so we can grab it with Karn here. The weird thing about this is like you have to split actual sideboard cards and your wish sideboard, so it's a lot to juggle. We also have the Crypt for Sakdos too, which is nice. And then we've got 2 Cries for aggro. This is mostly for mono red, I think, Goblins, just so we have a sweeper on 3. Golos for the Wish. Platinum Angel, this card destroys you white auras. You white auras cannot beat this card for the most part unless they like Lofty Denial or do something weird with the counterspell sideboard wise. This card just farms you white auras all day. Like, they just can't interact with it and they lose. And we have Citadel, which is just a top endy card so that we can grab something that we can go over the top with Karn. So there's the sideboard. And Duress is also for control. So how does the deck function? Usually I like to go over that first. I kind of got sidetracked with how this was different from the other variations. So we've got Thoughtseize. So keeping your hands mulliganing strategies. You want Thoughtseize, you want Maze Mines, you want Mindstone. Any of our 2-drops, basically. Anything that you can cast within your first 2 turns is always good to have. That's a general rule of thumb. You want some of these. You can keep a 2-lander if you have Maze Mind or Treasure Map, especially if they're 2 untapped lands. That way you can just start scrying. You have to remember to set an upkeep stop. That way you can scry before you draw. That way you can draw into your lands if you need to. Okay. So, and then we've got Murderous Rider. This is okay to keep in your starting hand. This is mostly for removal for like Nissa, big threats, questing beasts, etc. Chromatic Lantern's an okay card in your starter. Languish is fine. Karn, anything 4-drop or below is kind of meh. This can be considered an okay card too in your starting hand, like spot removal or graveyard hate for Saktos. And then we've got Eugene top end, etc. So that's pretty much the Mulligan strategy. The whole deck sort of revolves around ramping, even though it's mono black with Kobold Stronghold. So for each basic swamp, add 1 black, right? We start to profit off of this after 5 swamps, I believe, because you have to tap 4 total to activate this. So at 5, you start profiting 1 mana each time. And then the whole thing revolves around Karn pumping out card advantage, and then Golos being able to spin the top and being able to look at the top 3 cards. And then you may play them this turn without paying their mana cost. That's what the Chromatic Lantern's for here, is just being able to do that on top of ramping us. And then our other way to proc that is Golos can go and grab Cascading Cataracts, which once you have your mana engine going with Kobold Stronghold, you kind of get there. Like, once you get enough lands to profit with this, you can tap all of your lands, use the 5 to add all 5 colors, and then you can spin the top there on Golos. And then we have 3 Ugins instead of any Ulamogs. I feel like Ulamog might deserve like 1 spot here instead of maybe the Ugin, but this deck in particular, like Steam Flogger bosses, I might tweak the lands a little bit because I feel like we have too many non-swamps. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-swamps. We only have 18. So it makes it really hard to profit with Kobold Stronghold. But that's sort of what the deck does. You just start pumping out Karn advantage, get it? And you just start going over the top. This also shuts off Citadel's sack, other people who are running Mind Stones, treasure maps, etc. It just breaks the mirror match because they can't. This doesn't say activated mana. Like usually these things are phrased like non-mana abilities can't be activated. Or like, yeah, that's like basically most of the time it shuts off everything but the mana abilities, but this guy actually just shuts off mana abilities as well. So it's super strong in the mirror. And then it can also shut off like weird stuff like Arc Bow. I don't know, there's a bunch of cards that this shuts off. I might be missing some. Shuts off the mirror match Golos thing. Like, it's just so good to have. But that's the basic principle. Like, you develop Karn, you get Graph Diggers against Collected Company, against Saktos, Crypt against Saktos, Spyglass against like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, etc. And you can just kind of get there. That's basically how the list functions. Good matchups, bad matchups, I think is the only thing I haven't covered. We kind of covered the sideboard as well already. So good matchups, I would say we have a fair chance against aggro post sideboarding. Most aggro decks. Collected Company can be a little tricky. Bant Spirit's a little bit tricky. Like, anything that can redevelop their board on our turn before it comes to the opponent's turn again can be a little tough. Like, Flash decks are rough. I think Flash, like UR Flash or Mono Blue Tempo, is probably one of the hardest matchups. Thoughtseize and Duress really helps against those matchups, but sometimes it's not enough. So don't be too discouraged if you lose to that. That's probably your worst matchup. Bant Ramp, I think Steam Flogger Boss said they were undefeated. Like, right now they're on like a 7 streak, including the Bant Ramp that I tried to play against them. I did make a play mistake or two, but it was still close either way. But I think they still would have won with their draws. So the deck has a lot of potential against Ramp. I would say Sultai Ramp with casualties could hurt a lot, but they're not really allowed to do that because of aggro being pretty dominant in Historic as well. Just with, you know, red-black aggro, like without Luris, and then you have the Luris Saktos list with Thoughtseize, etc. So those lists can be a little rough, but we can usually recover with our sideboarding process. So Sakdos, think we have a really good chance against them, especially if we bring in 2 Grafdiggers potentially, and then leaving 1 in there for the Karn to fetch, and then we leave the Crypt so Karn can fetch it as well for -2, throw this down on the table, exile their Kroxa before they get to play it from the graveyard, right? They will have Bedevils for this, so you still will need the Crypt once in a while. Moments are really good against that deck too, because it just kills Priest and some other stuff, and it's also life gain. So that's pretty nice. Citadel lists themselves, like Jund Food, might be a little harder because we don't have a lot of interaction with their engines early game. We have to Thoughtseize like Trail of Crumbs or Thoughtseize the Mayhem Devil so we don't die. Stuff like that, which is a little rough. And our Murderous Rider is less good because they can just crack the Witch's Oven to stop us from getting Rider as a creature. So that's pretty rough. What other matchups are there? Like Ramp we kind of covered. We have an okay matchup against that. Aggro, okay matchup. If I'm missing any matchups, feel free to throw them in the comments below and I'll try to answer those. I try to respond to those comments pretty well, and usually I'll forget 1 or 2 matchups. So with that being said, let's jump into the gameplay. Did I quit Mahjong? DCSS, yeah. Well, we had a tournament for DCSS, which is why I played it a lot. But back in the day, I was still addicted to that as well. This is a bit slow, but it looks kind of okay. Like, I don't know if I should keep this or not. It has 3 lands, so... Against control, I think. Might be Bant Ramp. Why am I in silver? Jesus Christ. Well, we got lucky here. They have 1 for... Oh, Spectral Sailor? Oh, God. Because you just got back into it? That's fine. I haven't quit Mahjong, I just haven't been playing it as much. Thoughtseize and Languish, there you go. It's a good hit. They give me Thoughtseize, nice. Okay. They've got 3 damage on Karn. If they have a banner, that's 3, 4, 5. So Karn doesn't quite die. I can still get Languish. Yep. I will sacrifice Karn for Languish, 100% here. Hopefully they don't hit a land drop. If they hit land, we pretty much lose. Oh, it's a tap land, yes. Get wrecked. Yeah, nice collected companies, my dude. Woo! Partner, I can chill out some. MTGO, yeah. That makes sense. I think I just tap out for Ugin here, honestly. You're playing Brawl, nice. So I'm gonna bring in the Grafdiggers just as a card, I think, potentially. Maybe not. Wait, let's think about this. So Moment of Craving is pretty good just because it's an instant speed answer to a creature. Duresses can be pretty decent for a collected company to get some vision, but they could whiff if they just have all creatures. Languish is necessary. This is a tough sideboard. Cry could be good, but they do get banner effects, and then Cry doesn't help with this. It still might be necessary, though. I just don't know what to cut. Probably one of the Karns. The Karns seem a little too slow. Like, maybe cut 2 Karns, and then put the Grafdiggers in main deck, potentially. I don't know. It's tough. It depends on if we want to fight with Duress or if we want to fight with something else. Because, like, Duress is pretty weak to them instantly responding with Collected Company. And if that's their only counter, like, it's rough, you know what I mean? Maybe trim 1 Ugin. We have 2 cards left here. Maybe something like this, I'm not sure. This is a little rough. Not really keepable, sadly. This is a little bit better. We can probably put back 1 land, I would say. It's a good top cack. So no Collected Company for them. A little rough. They're gonna blow up Grafdiggers, I think. Yep. Fine. I don't think I need to scry. I have enough lands here. Might actually have to play Bajuka Bog now instead of later. We'll just hold up the moment. For a moment. Take a bit of damage here and that's fine. Go ahead and draw. Just chill for a sec. Got a moment that. Yeah. It's fine. It's a little rough. I could have waited until the end step, I guess. Again. Could have just waited for another second or so. A lot of damage. Oof. That lethal? Almost. They probably have a Collected Company to fill back up, so I want to find like a Thought Seize here, I would say. But I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. Get a Languish. Can't do that. I think I'm just gonna scry with this. It's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5. This is historic. Okay. We need our other Languish. I am dead. No way out, right? And no way out. Okay. I mean, Grafdiggers are less good now that we know that they have, like, Night of Autumn for it. Maybe just... Duresses aren't good, though. Like, look at how much Duress hits here. Nothing, right? I mean, the Cries really don't do a lot, man. Honestly, Cries are kind of bad. You have to have, like, multiple Cries for them to be good at all. Maze Mind probably needs to come back so we can smooth out our draws. Yeah, I think this is pretty close. Maybe the Ugin could come back in, but... Alright, so we get to play first at least. This is pretty good. Hopefully they don't have the Night of Autumn right off the bat again, but if they do, it's fine. Like, we just have to make them have it. They're going down to like 5 versus the Thoughtseize deck, which is pretty tough. We're definitely favored now, but it just depends on if they mold hard for the Night of Autumn or not. And if they get copies of Collected Company. We take the Rattle Chains, I guess. That way we can actually use our Murderous Rider. The idea here. They might have missed on a land drop. They did. Now, we are kind of in trouble if they have the Deputy for this, like if they hit a land drop, but we're just banking on them not hitting a land. Not the best plan, team, but we have the cojones to do so. Alright. Yeah, we're still doing viewer games. We just go for a basic swamp here to make our first Kobold stronghold. Actually, we can go for cascading, I guess. That feels pretty spicy. So they have to use Rattle Chains here, like, aggressively to try to get some creatures going. So now they can go Deputy on the on Golos. So they can't even do it on Grafdiggers. That's sick. We could have kept that, but I'm gonna... Okay. Let's crank out some card advantage here. So they give me the swamp for sure. Now I have Erebos on tap. So I'm going to go ahead and do this preemptively just to take them off of more cards. And then we just chill. We can even upkeep Scry if we want to, but I think I'd rather draw a card. So they shock in. They get Knight, so they're going to blow up the Grafdiggers probably. Maybe the Maze Mine though. Might be the Maze Mine if they don't have Collected Company. So hopefully we can get the other Karn going here. We don't really need that. We can do much better than that. Ugin! Maze Mine's really decent, but I would rather be a bit greedy here. Try to go for the win. So we can get Ereboses here. That should be good. Untap the Rainbow Land. I could have. I don't think we had enough though, did we? It was like really close, but I tried to see if I had it. Not. Okay, so they can blow up Golos. Yep. Fine. They still can't touch this. Like, what are they gonna do? We can crack the Mind Stone as well to draw here since we have plenty of mana. Nice. It's a good pull. Languish is also kind of okay, but I kind of want to save it. We'll +1 the Karn and see what we get here. Let's spin the wheel. Oh, get wrecked. That's super good. And just chill here, honestly. I don't think I need to use this. Can I do this? I could do this. 4 or 5. This takes how many? 4 lands? Yeah, I can just pass here. This is fine. I don't have to do anything. Spectral Sailor. So I want that to die. Because that's card advantage. I can't have that be going on, you know? Can't allow that to happen. Plus then they could have played this and killed my Karn. Whereas this way I get to keep my Karn. Right? At least for the moment, it looks like that. So Karn goes down to 1. Not gonna miss my damage here. I also should have floated mana for Stronghold there. That was kind of a play mistake. Oh yeah, boy! Why would you tap Cobalt Stronghold? I guess it doesn't really matter too much, right? Like either way, I have enough mana to do whatever I want with it. I guess I can't hold up the Murderous Rider, which is sad. Castle Lockwane is gas, but I get so much vision here. I don't think it really matters. I think we made it. Yeah! Woo! Alright. There's the highlight. Good old wheel. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea of how the deck functions, a little bit of a breakdown for it, sideboards, all of that good stuff, and a little bit of gameplay. I usually try to do about 3 of these deck guides a week, and we're cracking down on just deck guides for the most part. Most of the other series I'm going to kind of lean back from for a minute and just focus on making really good deck techs. So hopefully you guys had some fun watching the deck. There'll be a subscribe button here in a minute in the end panel if you want to click on my face. Really helps the channel out. And then you can check out another deck guide if you'd like to on the most recently played video. So with that being said, I will catch you guys next time.